There's something magical about that moment when a young girl discovers her passion for softball.
Softball being a sport of failure, it's like one giant game of faith in and of itself.
I love the competition with it and having a drive, something to compete for, something to win.
Countless hours are spent practicing swings, perfecting pitches, growing stronger and more confident.
Softball, it pulled the best version of me out because it is my happy place.
With a determination to one day perform on the sport's biggest stages, the Women's College World Series. Somewhere along the way of this journey, as they navigate the ups and downs of the game, they gain perspective.
Why do we put so much weight on trying to be perfect or trying to be good enough when in reality, like, it's so much bigger than that?
When I heard that I could potentially miss some parts of the season, it made me really realize that this game can be over at any second.
But for many, softball is about more. Beyond the wins and losses, it's a platform for something greater.
It's every little girl's dream when they're playing softball growing up is like, want to play on the big stage, and that's really all I can ask for is a shot.
Much of Ashley Trierweiler's journey took place on the softball diamond just down the street from her home.
My parents joke that I got the worst side of both of them in terms of how competitive I am. And so if I'm gonna do something, like, I wanna win and I wanna be the best that I can be at it. When you're playing a sport where getting a hit a third of the time is really good, like, that still means you're failing the other 2/3 of the time. It's definitely a challenge, and it's something that's not an easy thing to do, but I like the challenge, and I like that there's always something you can be learning. After high school, I ended up going to Santa Clara to play Division I softball, and so that was like my goal. My journey at Santa Clara was full of so many different twists and turns and ups and downs.
Compiling a 4-year batting average of .440, including hitting .486 in her senior year, good for second in the nation, led to Trierweiler earning Division I All-American honors.
Looking back is like, those are all moments that helped me grow into the person that I am now and the person that I'm becoming. I have 1 year left of like college softball eligibility, and so I'm gonna play that at Grand Canyon University. I'm beyond excited for the next chapter. Also a little bit nervous just for like kind of the new start. GCU's had a lot of success in the past, and just with the way that Coach Hayes and the rest of the staff runs the program and the buy-in that all the girls have, like, I know we're gonna compete again, and that's really all I can ask for is a shot at, winning on the big stage.
Campbell Hutcherson's love for the sport started early and is still strong.
I think I fell in love with softball, honestly, from the second that I picked up the softball.
This one's hit to the opposite field, and that is gone. Campbell Hutcherson with a 2-run blast, and the Tar Heels have retaken the lead.
I played softball at the University of North Carolina for 5 years. Then I went on to coach at the University of Virginia for a year, and now I'm going into my second year here at George Mason University. The drive that I was just instilled with from the time that I was little, from the time that I kind of left the house, is something that I owe like my dad and my mom especially, because they just instilled leadership, hard work, passion, and everything that you do, like on and off the field. That belief and confidence that my family gave to me instilled a belief and confidence in myself. My time at Carolina was an unforgettable experience. They always say, college is the best 4 or 5 years of your life. And honestly, I really do believe that. Like, I had the most strong support system. My coach was there for 38 years, and she was such a good mentor to me, which is a huge reason why I got into coaching and why I'm here right now. And my teammates surrounding me were so supportive, and my road was definitely not easy, as a lot of people's is not, in college athletics. And I navigated through, 5 surgeries, and that was super difficult. Every year, my teammates loved me. They loved me harder through everything. They're constantly checking in on me, and they cared about me as more than just a softball player, but they're my friend, and my coaches, that's my player, and they truly care about my well-being. You're never going to remember the score, you're at bats or anything, but you remember those crazy dugout chants that you're doing and just kind of being goofy with your teammates. And, you're part of that 1%. Regardless of how well you played, you're part of something of that team. That was so special for me. See your stride? This is what I want you to work on, striding out more as opposed to just stepping here. Yes, like that. Nice, Maddie. Coaching is such a unique position to be in because every single day you get to hear all the stories of these young girls. They're dealing with so much mentally, physically, their home life, academically, and you get to be that person that they can just unload to. You get to be the person that can impact them. You can share your faith in a way that you're living it out every single day. You're talking to all these kids. You're on the road recruiting, able to share your faith again, networking. It's just such a unique role that, yes, it's time consuming. You're working 7 days a week, so it has its cons, but I was like, every job has its cons. What an awesome role that you get to play to be this mentor to these kids. I've been in their shoes. I know what it takes to compete at a high level, so why can't that be me to kind of be on the other side of it and try to help them navigate something that's super, super difficult to go through.
Over in Phoenix, Grand Canyon's fall season is underway, with Trierweiler already settling in with her teammates and coaches.
Sweating my tears, dedicated for years. I am my brother's keeper. I elevated my peers, made history with victory. It's our turn now. Let's go now. Can't slow down. Oh no now. It's a showdown, and we ready for it when it's time to go down. We'll never give it up. Always level up, never back down. It's our turn now.
Talk about a huge blessing for us to get Ashley. I had a lot of coaches on the recruiting trail come up and say, man, that kid you got from Santa Clara is an absolute stud, but they don't know how much of a stud she is as a person. And so that's the biggest thing about her is the kind of person that she is. And she's been an immediate boost to our team and to a group of very accomplished seniors. So for her to come in and be able to do that says a lot about her. But just the joy she brings every day is very infectious. I mean, there's always a smile on her face. She's happy to be here. She competes daily. One of the things that I've noticed that she's done in such a great way for us is our super group of freshmen. She's a great mentor to them. It's interesting as a coach, especially today, to see how college softball is. Most of these girls, they start playing at a very young age. All of them have a goal of playing college softball, and when they get here, they see that it can be a grind. 5 days a week, we have strength and conditioning, and then, depending on the weather, we'll usually either practice in the morning before, or we'll go at night. Sandwiched in between there, they have their schoolwork. There's a lot of things that they're doing at once. They definitely have to multitask. It can feel like a job sometimes, and I think that's why one of the things that we try to do as coaches is keep it fresh and make it as fun as we can. We've got all the pieces to have a really good year, and it's going to be fun to see where we go.
Not far from Phoenix, Allie Chin is preparing for her senior season at Division II Azusa Pacific with some unexpected challenges.
I started playing softball when I was about in 2nd grade. Just fell in love with the game. Coming into my senior year, I really wanted to soak everything in. Didn't take a single day for granted. Really wanted to see all the work I put in the summer play out. And then I would say the second week here, I was in the outfield, they were hitting balls to us, and I dove for a ball, and all of a sudden I feel my shoulder pop out. And It's happened before, so it's pretty common, but this time was a little bit different. I was able to put it back in, but my coach told me to just go to the athletic training room right away. I spoke to one of the guys in charge, and he said that I most likely tore my ligaments in my shoulder, and that the only way to prevent it from happening again was to get surgery, which has a 1-year recovery time. And I was devastated. I asked him, I was like, well, is there any way I can just keep pushing through it and just wait to have surgery till after college? He said yes, but it's gonna keep happening. So I chose to play like at risk. My mom asked, would it really be that bad if you just get the surgery now? And that's when I was like, okay, like I really thought about it. But I had this weird sense of peace about the whole thing, and I can't really describe the sense of like this feeling. But everyone would ask like, oh, what's wrong? Like, what happened? And I told them like, you know, I tore something in my shoulder, and they all were more worried than I was, and that concerned me. And I felt like I wasn't processing it right, and I think I came to the fact that I just had so much peace about it all. I know that God has a plan, and He knows everything that's gonna happen, and I can just trust in Him and trust that He'll use me in whatever way He needs me to be used.
I think growing up, I was always like the good kid. No one said I had to be like that. It was just kind of something that I was like, okay, I need to be perfect, and I need to be like the perfect kid in everything that I do. My freshman year of high school, like the first probably 5 or 6 months were so rough. Like that was my first experience with like anxiety and like severe anxiety and fear and worry. Looking back on it now, I would say that it wasn't really that big of a transition, but as a little 8th grader coming up into 9th grade, like I was so overwhelmed, and so anxiety was just like every waking moment. And like I think there were times where I would come home from school just in tears every day, like just so overwhelmed and so anxious. Oh, sorry. And like, sorry. And like, that was when I realized I was like, I can't do this on my own. And like, that was when I started really getting into the Bible more, and like with intention, and like trying to lean into getting to know like who God is, and like understand that like I don't have to have it all together, which is still something that I struggle with a lot, where it's like I want to be perfect and I want people to think that I have it all together, and sometimes I feel like I can't go to God unless I like am in a good place and I'm content, and then I can present myself to Him. But I think that freshman year of high school was that first, it like glimpse into like, no, you actually don't, and He actually wants you to come to Him in like everything that is your brokenness, because that's where He does the transforming work.
Ashley Prange's journey in the sport has not been easy, facing emotional and mental challenges.
I'm Ashley Prange, and I'm a girl from New Palestine, Indiana, just 15 minutes east of downtown Indianapolis. I started playing softball when I was 5, and I have yet to miss a season since. I'm now 23. I played collegiately, and now I play professionally in Bradenton, Florida for the Florida Vibe. Around 12 was when I kind of got serious with like, okay, I think I could do this in college. We were getting reached out to by college coaches at age 13. I committed to Ohio State when I was 14. It was almost harder committing that early because people always said like, oh, now you get to relax, you don't have to worry about the coaches. But then it's like you also have the expectation, like, okay, she committed to Ohio State when she was 14, like, she must be, like, pretty good. So that was kind of a struggle at first, and I would say it took me until about my junior year to kind of let that go. But then there was also, I had to get better. Like, I couldn't just stay the same, like, as I was when I was 14. Like, I had to improve my game in some way. So just trying to find different ways to do that throughout my high school career. And then I graduated in 2018 and went to Ohio State and played 3 years there, and then transferred after my junior year to Alabama. So the big reason why I transferred, October 25th was the night that one of my teammates attempted suicide. Me and my roommate found her, and she was one of 3. So one of 3 girls each year. I was there my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, attempted suicide. All 3 lived, but just the whole night itself was chaotic and a lot. Like, I struggled for a long time. I didn't sleep through the night for like 7 months, and just felt super lost. And I remember thinking, okay, God, like not even why, but I just was angry because I was like, it's not fair that, like, why do I have to feel this way because of someone else's actions? Like, for the longest time, I was just mad, I would say. And like I didn't speak to her for 3 months. Sorry, I'm like starting to... I remember wrestling with the idea about transferring. And so we had played at Indiana, and so that's like 40 minutes away from my actual hometown. And one of the girls on the team, her name was Gabby Jenkins. Her walkout song was Only Jesus by Casting Crowns. Driving home, I texted her because I had played travel softball with her growing up. And so I was like, hey, like, it's super cool that you were able to represent Jesus like that. And she was like, I know we haven't talked in forever, but I can't help but feel like you're not happy where you are. For her to recognize that and not even talk to me for years was crazy. And it was almost like it was God speaking to me in that moment, like, hey, there's more out there. Because I was either going to transfer at this point or completely quit softball altogether. Like, I was done with it. I was done with the drama, the performance, everything. I just didn't even like playing anymore. I just had that hope that there was something more out there because, like I said, I was gonna quit if I didn't end up going anywhere else. But it just felt wrong in my heart. Like, I felt like God had me in the sport for a reason, and he had brought me this far for a reason. So, like, who am I to abandon that now? And I did have a conversation with the girl. The texter was like, I just need you to know I forgive you. Like, there was no further conversation, but like, just to speak it, it took weight off of my heart, and that was weight that I needed. And she was like, you have no idea how much that means to me. So just to be able to have that interaction meant a lot too, because I had held on to that for a long time.
Confidence has always been a big thing for me, where like I've struggled with it a lot. And that has translated into how I do or do not have conversations about God with other people. I was on Instagram one day and this thing for I Am Second popped up and it said student athlete ambassador, like team second. I was like, oh, that would be really cool. Like, I don't really use my NIL for anything, but this is something that I am really passionate about. And I had no idea that we'd be like trained up in how to share the gospel or anything like that. And so once going to the summit, learning those tools, I was like, wow, this is like way more than I thought it was gonna be, but in such a good way.
I went to the Team Second retreat in Dallas and had the best time. Like, the people were so awesome and instantly clicked. Like, some of my best friends, I still talk to them and create some really cool connections, just learn the true meaning of spreading the gospel and why it's important and how to do that. And it's taken me so far, and it's stuff I've been able to take back to college and use with my team or with other people and just kind of share in that way too.
Being a college athlete is very hard, and being able to live out your faith through college is also very hard. Seeing and meeting all these amazing athletes from around the nation, it's just like amazing to hear and see how God's working in their lives.
While best known for its creative online storytelling, I Am Second also provides pathways for people to grow their relationship with Jesus. Each summer, Team Second ambassadors come together to encourage one another, become equipped on how to share the gospel, and gain confidence to represent Jesus on their campuses. With her faith emboldened, Brooke Fagan returned for her senior year at Mississippi College in the fall of 2022, ready to try something new with her teammates. The year before, they had finished 22-23, missing their conference playoffs. She knew what was missing from the team.
I'd be lying if I said I was extremely nervous coming up to Dallas. You know, the devil always tries to step in and say, like, you know, maybe your story's not good enough. You didn't have, you know, all these issues. You had a good life. And so that was my thought process going into it. When I got there, it was completely different. Felt so welcome, so comfortable. and able to meet, Prangy, Tree, and all those, and now have like a forever relationship with people like that. It allowed me to have to come out of my shell to, talk to them, then sharing my second story. When I returned back from the Team Second Summit, it was really cool to see God do some really amazing things with the tools that I learned there. Last year's team, we bought into I Am Second. It was our first team meeting. Our coaches bought into it with me. I was so excited I brought it back to them. Our assistant coach texted and was like, hey, what do we want, our slogan, our motto to be? And I was like, I am second. And from there, we kind of took it and ran with it. We had Bible studies every Sunday. We go to little coffee shops, practicing it, walking around campus. Those that had that relationship already, we were practicing it with our teammates. So even though we were kind of setting it up like, oh, we're just practicing sharing the gospel, we were actually really sharing it to those teammates that, maybe didn't have that relationship with Christ yet. And whenever we started seeing the lives impacted, it allowed us to kind of have a solid ground. It allowed each player on the team to feel valued and worthy just by with what God tells them and who He says they are. I had one girl that told me that like her whole family changed because of it. It was a way outside of church that they heard the gospel. And whenever I think they felt what it feels like and that sensation in your heart that you get whenever you have that impact for Christ on someone, that flipped the switch for us. And it just fueled us on the field. It fueled us as people. It was a completely different culture. And I will put my money on it every day that I am second, and the Christ-like hearts that we had is what made that year so great.
Lord God, thank you for gathering us here today, and thank you for safe travels for Amanda, Corey, Taylor, and John, and bringing them out here to GCU to give us some strategies on how to share the gospel and how to make your word accessible to our teammates and to the people around us. And I just pray that you'll speak through everyone who'll be teaching tonight and give us some really tangible ways to be bold and to step out and share your love for all of your creation, Lord. In your name I pray, amen.
Part of this whole Team Second thing that we have going on with student athletes across the country is that I Am Second wants to train us, to train our teammates, to train anybody who's interested in learning these strategies to share the gospel. And so last night, a team came and did a little training session with myself and a few of my teammates, which was super awesome, gave us some strategies for how to share the gospel. Just having that event last night, it was an opportunity to obey, and we're called to share the word with other people, and we're called to train other people in how to share the word and use the resources that we have to help edify other people. And so just being able to do that, I don't know what doors are gonna be open now that we've done this training on campus, but I'm super excited to see what the Lord does with the tools that we have, and now that we have a group to do it, and it's not just me with these tools, and we can go out and we can talk to our teammates together, and we can talk to the community together about it. I'm so excited to see what the Lord is gonna do, because I know He's gonna work in some ways that are so unexpected, and that probably would never have happened if we didn't get together and do this last night.
After helping lead Alabama through a competitive postseason, Ashley Prangy found herself on the big stage at the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City, living out her childhood dream.
That was the coolest experience of my life, because that's what 5-year-old Ashley had dreamed of, and walking out into that stadium, and they tell you not to look up, but I looked up, and there's 9,000 people. It was a dream. The whole season was nothing short of a dream, so I'm super thankful for it.
And there she goes, drawing back up the middle for Tide's first.
For both players, faith really seems to be a backbone for both of you. If you could just entail what that looks like in your life, in your softball career, and now as you begin to move on from Alabama as a player.
I would say to even be here has been completely my faith, completely Jesus, because I went in the portal with no ties to really anything and just kind of took a leap of faith in that moment to hope for something better. And I just prayed, like I've said before, for a place that could give me a platform for something bigger than myself, and a place where I could be welcomed for who I am, and regardless of what I ever do on the softball field. That was more than anything I could have ever dreamed of, and it's every answered prayer that I could have asked for.
Being at Alabama, I was just grateful. Like, I would say that I finally was able to see like what God had done, because all those moments where I was like, why, or like, this isn't fair, like, I don't understand, like, there was such a bigger purpose to everything that I was going through that I would have never imagined. Like, I never would have expected to be at Alabama, or expected to have the platform that I had, or to be able to even just have any way to talk about Jesus on that stage. So I think that looking back, like, I'm thankful, because everything that I thought didn't make sense, or everything that I thought was completely broken, was better than anything I dreamed of.
Only a handful of softball teams are able to end their season at the Women's College World Series. The rest end up measuring their performance against other metrics, looking for improvement. Yet for Ashley Trierweiler and others in the sport, there's a different set of criteria to look at.
For the softball community, like, the big stage is the College World Series. That's where you get all the fans and all the viewership and all the big lights and trophies and the national championship, things like that. And of course, like, that's all great, but ultimately for me, the big stage is being able to use my time in college softball and just my time on earth, my limited time here, as a way to glorify God and use the gifts that He's given me to give it all back to Him, because without Him, I wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't be in this position that I'm in right now. I wouldn't be performing at the level I'm performing at, or being able to even play at the Division I level. Like, that's all His work. So being able to make the most of every opportunity and glorify God through everyday life, like, that's ultimately the big stage for me. So you're catching it with the same hand that you would wear your glove on.
I kind of forgot that part.
That's okay. We're gonna do it again, so you'll have another chance to do it. This is a huge opportunity to give the sport back to God. Remembering this is for His glory, and it's not about me. It's not even about the sport. Like, it's about the Lord at work through this game that we get to play, and just learning to be an obedient vessel and not a reluctant one.
Good. Pause. My team, we have this tradition. We take a Sharpie and we write on our arms just reminders during the game to go back to. And I always write the same two things. It's be where your feet are, and for His glory, not mine. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the little things that God gave you and God's blessed you with. I don't want to put myself first. I want to glorify Him. And, you know, all these awards don't matter. The only thing that matters is making His name known.
My ultimate prayer to God when, you know, kind of looking ahead to the future, God brings me to a place that not necessarily needs my coaching abilities the most, but needs my heart. To me, it's not about the fame. It has always been about the culture and the atmosphere, and I ask that, you know, God just puts me in a place ultimately that will just keep growing me in my walk with Him.
I've been challenged to truly put God first in every aspect of my life. Like, life is hard. You're gonna have your ups and downs. You're gonna be challenged. But if you continue to remind yourself that there's a God that's greater than anything in the entire world, it literally will give you goosebumps. And so I think that's what gets me so fired up and so excited about it, because it's like, this is true, and I wanna live second for the rest of my life, and I want to keep Him at the center point of my life. So that's what to me, that's what it means to live second.
As this season comes to a close, I think I want to be remembered by my teammates as someone who pushed them to be the best version of themselves, both on the field and off the field. And of course, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Of course, there have been mistakes made, but through the mistakes and through any struggles that we might have as a team, like, I ultimately hope that I've been a light to my teammates and I've shown them Jesus through the way that I carry myself on the field and the way that I carry myself off the field. And regardless of how softball goes for any of us, it's like we're so much more than that, and we can glorify the Lord even through our failures, and that we have the King of the world on our side no matter what. And like, softball's temporary, but a relationship with Jesus is eternal. And if I could show even one teammate that, that's so sweet. And that's the goal for me, like ultimately be remembered as someone who feared the Lord and loved Jesus and wasn't afraid to bring other people along with her.
It's all in your hands, and those hands are your plans are. Yes, you are. So good to me. So good to me. Believe I've arrived, but every day I struggle. So tired of all these lies, pull me up from the rubble. Mask on, only let them see the fake me. If you want a perfect picture, man, then it ain't me. Why do we always gotta learn lessons the hard way? Watch the situations just blow up in our face. In the arms of the heavenly, who would never leave. Putting trust in the flesh of me, may it never be. Trust issues make me wanna put my hands on everything that you already got your hands on. When I'm sinking, give me something I can stand on. Come give me another word I can plan on. Tryna do it by myself, so exhausted. Tryna keep it all together, almost lost it. Will you show up whenever I need reminded? You were good and you got that perfect timing. Tryna keep a hold on as much as I can. Just tryna hold on. It slips away like sand, empty-handed again. I should've known. Surrender is the place where I should have begun. Yeah. It's all yours.